Hello everybody, this video is an excerpt from next week's podcast. You will be able to access that on the 10th of May. But for patrons who are awesome, you get that a week early on the 3rd of May. From just $1 a month, you can support us on Patreon. You get early access to the podcasts. You get to ask us questions for the podcast. And also you get to join us on our Discord server. So without much further ado, let's get into this video.
So yeah, Little Nightmares. It's a puzzle platformer from Tarsier Studios, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Right,
yeah. Published by Bandai Namco. So
what do you think, Liam?
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. Never once did I feel bored or unsatisfied. It was a good romp throughout. Very easy game. Never challenged me.
Tell us about the gameplay. Did you enjoy the mechanic of the 2D side-scrolling?
I did, yeah.
Puzzle mechanic.
It's a mixture of 2D puzzle platforming, you know, the likes of Little Big Planet, that sort of thing, and run and hide survival horror, stuff like Outlast and Alien Isolation. And I think it worked quite well. It's a good mix. The gameplay was very simplistic. The puzzles aren't like hard to do or anything,
No,
but I don't think it was detrimental in any way. It's sort of like you get the feeling of exploring this really surreal, odd world, and that's what takes the primary focus, I guess. Gameplay sort of takes a backseat to...
Yeah, it's like, fairly casual, isn't it?
Yeah. It's more focused on atmosphere, environment, story, that sort of thing. Gameplay's pretty simplistic, but it's serviceable.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the gameplay to an extent, but it is limited, like you say. It's only a 2D side scroll, and I don't really play those types of games.
Limbo and Inside are the first two games anybody that's played those games will immediately think of when they look at Little Nightmares. But like Liam said, actually, you've got this survival horror sort of run and hide thing that's not in the other two games, really. The fact that you've got to time yourself through the world and make sure you don't get picked on by all these big baddies, you know. That doesn't really happen that much in the other games, so that was a nice change of pace compared to the others.
It was fun. It was a fun little game. I felt it grew on me. Like, it started off really slow, and I was like, oh, I could be playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds here, and I'm spending an hour on this. But I played kind of half of it on Saturday, half on Sunday, finished it on Monday. I spent an hour and 20 on the first day, and then I finished it in an hour and 20 as well. So in that sense, I mean, the length of it was a bit puzzling for me because I was just starting to get into it. I was just starting to enjoy the mechanic of running, hiding, and there was a couple of levels towards the end where it changes and you're getting chased, and there's the adrenaline goes up a little bit, and there's a bit more exciting, and the levels get a bit more interesting. But then it finished, and that was my main problem with it. That it didn't feel like a full climax. Do you know what I mean? There was no like full meat to it.
Yeah, it sort of picks up speed and then it just drops you. I think games like this.
I think they call it edging, don't they?
yeah. This is it. It's the video game equivalent of edging, or if you'd like a non-sexual reference, the video game equivalent of tapas. Delicious, but too small to maybe satisfy the urge. What's funny though is a lot of complaints about games these days is that they outstay their welcome. Games like this leave you wanting more. Would you guys argue the price point? Do you think it's worth the money if you?
Let's just put it out there. It was $20 or £15.
£15 here, yeah.
So what do you think?
I mentioned it in the office before. You think it's about a 3 to 4 hour game, and it's priced at $15.99 here in the UK. And I compared it to like if you buy a Blu-ray movie here in the UK. So say a movie's like 2 hours, and they're £15 as well. So I think if you use that metric, I'd say it's fair enough price point.
Yeah.
Because you can go back and get collectibles if you want more content, or you can just play through the game again. It's not that long. But I'd say the price point's pretty fair.
Let's talk about the collectibles. There's these there's the gnomes you've got to hug.
Yeah,
and there's the statues that you've got to break, basically. And they're very limited though, aren't they? Like each level is less than 5 on each level or something.
Oh, there's also the lanterns you've got to light as well, isn't there?
Do they count as a collectible? Because I didn't see the tally of those at the end.
I think they do, but there's not like an actual figure you have to hit. You get a trophy for getting a certain amount, but you don't have to collect all of them. I
like the game more now I've played it than I probably did when I was playing it. I don't know how that translates, but it's the puzzle. Sometimes what got me is like sometimes it was not intuitive enough for me, and it's like I found myself going to online walkthroughs and like, how do I get past this one bit? But now knowing how to get through those levels, I feel like I would enjoy a lot more playing the game because I don't feel like I'm going to be made to look stupid because I don't know what the answer is.
Games like this, sometimes they'll try and make a puzzle out of you trying to figure out which part of the background to climb up, and I find that quite irritating sometimes because you end up traipsing back and forth all the way back looking for books that might look like you can climb up them. I don't find that enjoyable. I don't find like a sense of achievement when I overcome that. I just think, oh, good, I can get on with it now.
Yeah.
It takes the momentum out of it as well, and it breaks the immersion.
What was the best game? We talk about some criticisms there, but what were the game at its best? What would you say were the parts that?
Straight away, atmosphere. It is one of the most atmospheric games I've played in a while. Like, as soon as you boot up the game, you instantly believe like you're in this world. I'm quite astonished how much world building they do using just animations in the background and the music and little like you see like the gnomes like scurrying about everywhere. It oozes atmosphere.
There is that like palpable sense of the world is real. It's like a little cartoon that it's not like a cartoon because that undersells it, but there's like a certain like physicality to it. The graphics themselves are beautiful. The soundscape, fantastic. Like they've built this little game and it looks perfect. It's a solid game. Is it worth £15 again? It's another question for me. But
one thing these games do really well is they kind of tell a story and world building without any dialogue, without any words being spoken, without any text popping up on a screen. You just walk through it and you know what's going on. You can describe the story of this game and it hasn't said anything. I love it when things do that. I like the show and not tell aspect of it. And then when you finish the game, like you were saying, the more you think about it now,
more you appreciate
it. You look back and go, oh yeah, I really enjoyed that. And for me, what is a game if not that? Your enjoyment with it and your enjoyment of it after playing it, your memories with it. So I would recommend it, and the price, therefore, I would say was fair because I had a good time.
It's a fair price for people who've got a decent budget for gaming. For people who are budget conscious, I would say it's not enough. I completed it in 3 hours, and I was just getting warm to it, and I was just getting excited about the game, and then it finished. If £15 was my like monthly budget for gaming, it was like 3 hours, but that's just not enough.
Yeah, if you're budget conscious, and if you want hours, if you want a game solely for the amount of time you can spend on it, you know, I mean, realistically, are we all going to play it again? Probably not.
One last thing, what influences has this game drawn from like movies and other games? Did you see in there? Was there anything that it reminded you of a lot?
Immediately it's Tim Burton. It's got to be like it looks really similar to, you know, these movies like Corpse Bride, Coraline, Nightmare Before Christmas. It really goes for that like similar grotesque but cutesy art style. I'd describe it as just Tim Burton, really.
There was one reference that I saw in there. I don't know if you saw them slugs at the very start that fall from the roof and they follow you. You ever play a game called Another World? Them slugs are from another world. And like as soon as I saw them, I was like, the way that they move especially, I don't know if it was just the shape of them and everything. I don't know whether it was like a pure accident or what. The shape of them, the way that they move, the way that they hang from the ceiling and fall, the way that they shape. I don't know. I just love that.
Grand similarity. For me, I think the one striking similarity, and I'm glad Mike's not here because he always has a go at me for bringing this up so much in the office, but Studio Ghibli film called Spirited Away. It's a girl, she finds herself trapped in this world in a bathhouse, and there's a part where a boat arrives and all these spirits start walking off the boat, and when in Spirited Away, May's parents turned into pigs and they're all pigging out on this bar. All that imagery from Spirited Away has been directly lifted and inserted into certain points of Little Nightmares. So Studio Ghibli, I would not be surprised at all if that was officially one of their influences.
Cool. There was one other thing that I wanted to bring up was like the fact that you get hungry at certain points, and it reminded me of my 6-year-old daughter because whenever she sees food, she gets hungry, and that was the kind of the connection. It's like, oh, there's food. Dad, I'm hungry. It's like you only ever get hungry in this game when there's food around, and that's a bit of a coincidence. But it just reminded me.
She's called 6 as well, the little girl.
In Little Nightmares.
That's her name.
There you go.
Maybe that's it. That's another influence there. So
all in all, let's summarise then. I would say it's definitely worth picking up if you've got a huge budget for games and you like this type of art style and games like Inside and Limbo and that type of thing. There's a puzzle aspect to it. You get chased towards the end. That's the best part of the game for me was when I was being chased and there was adrenaline fueled. There's a couple of cool little features too where you're on a boat the whole time and like a certain there's a grand piano hanging from the ceiling that rocks and you can only make the jump at certain points of the rocking boat, which is nice. There's a lot of like little lovely parts to this game, and all in all, it's well worth playing. But whether it's worth the £15 or $20, that's a personal decision, and I think everyone should take that decision personally. So Okay, so thanks very much for checking out this video. If you want to access the podcast right now, head over to Patreon. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait a whole week until May the 10th when you can listen to the whole podcast that this video was an excerpt from. Until next time, bye for now.